Okay, so today we're going to be doing 1.3 continued. Like I said, today is going to work with the order of operations that you've already done. So first thing we're going to do is define what evaluate means. Okay, evaluate. So evaluate means to substitute a number for a variable. Substitute a number for a variable. So substitute and evaluate really just mean the same thing. Evaluate's just a fancier version of substitute. You will see it quite often in your assignments and as you go on through your high school courses in math. Okay? So for today, I'm going to give one set of instructions and then all the questions are going to be based on that set of instructions. So the instructions today are to evaluate the following expressions. If W equals 4, X equals 5, Y equals 2, and Z equals -3. Again, we're going to evaluate the following expressions. If Y equals 4, X equals 5, Y equals 2, and Z equals -3. So our first expression is going to be ZW divided with the division symbol divided by 2. So when you get your assignment, and if you've already looked at the back of it, you'll see that most of it all comes with just variables. Okay, and then the point of it is that you're going to substitute in the values that it provides to you. So at the very top of your assignment, it'll say, these are the values for these variables. So similar to this. So we're going to substitute in the values that it told us for the specific letters. So Z is -3, and W is 4. And then 2 will just stay the same. Again, Z was -3, W was 4, and then the divided by 2 will stay the same. Wyatt, please put it away. From here, you're going to go ahead and do order of operations. Okay, so we do have parentheses, but is there anything to do within these parentheses? No, so we just kind of ignore that part. Do we have any exponents? No. Okay, do we have multiplication and division? Yes, okay. Question I have for you before we move on, what does it mean when we have two sets of parentheses next to each other? Multiplication, good. So since we're doing multiplication and division from left to right, that means we would multiply first. So -3 times 4 is 12. And -12 divided by 2 would equal -6. And so that would be your answer, and that would be the end of that problem. Okay. So once you substitute in your values for your variables, it's just order of operation skills continuing on. Okay. What, Maddie?
So basically, this is just the statement that you
It's except for the very first step, you are using the same skills as the 1.3 lesson. Yes.
It's just adding letters.
It is adding variables in the substitution, yes. Okay. X squared plus X minus 12, division symbol divided by Y squared. Okay, can look complicated, but it doesn't have to be. So X squared plus X minus 12 divided by Y squared. The first thing you're gonna do is substitute in your values. So X is 5. So we have 5 squared plus 5 minus 12 divided by Y, which is 2 squared. So we should have 5 squared plus 5 minus 12 divided by 2 squared. Again, once you substitute, it's all about simplifying with order of operations. So we have parentheses, but there's nothing inside them to simplify. So next we'll do exponents. So 5 squared is 25. And 2 squared is 4. Okay. What would be the next step towards simplifying this problem? Division. Good. So it'd be 12 divided by 4, which is 3. Okay, and then we have adding and subtracting from left to right. So 25 plus 5, and 30 minus 3, which is 27. Yes. So any questions regarding number 2? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and let you try number 3. So at this point, you're gonna go ahead and write this down and you're gonna try this problem on your own. After a few minutes, you can check with someone near you. And then we'll discuss as a class. So go ahead and try it on your own for now. Okay, instructions are separately answered. You gotta do left to right. Oh, okay. So your answer should end up being a fraction. That's not intended to
improper fraction. That's in like one part is person. That last one.
All right, go ahead and check with Mary what you think it is.
Did you say it can be a mixed number?
No, I said you should not write it as a mixed number, you should write it as an improper fraction. So even more hint, if your answer is not an improper fraction, you messed up.
What? Is it supposed to be an improper fraction?
Yeah,
Nothing is negative.
okay, go ahead and wrap up that conversation. Please go ahead and wrap up that conversation. Okay, so let's first substitute in our values. So we have, oops, try that again. We have 2 times 5 divided by, what was that, 4 times -3. Okay, anyone like to offer up what they believe the answer is? Yes,
10 over -12.
it's not 10 divided by 12 or -12.
-15 halves.
It is -15 halves. What? I know. Okay. So left to right, okay? Well, let's start with parentheses. Do we have any parentheses?
Yeah.
Yes, but are they anything inside of them to be simplified? No. So what about exponents? No. So then we do multiplication and division from left to right. So the first thing would be multiplying 2 times 5, which is 10. What should be the next step that we complete?
4 times 3, -3.
Is there a multiplication or division before that? Are we doing left to right multiplication division? So we should have 10 divided by 4 times -3. Okay, can 10 divided by 4 simplify? Yes, they're both even numbers, so therefore it could simplify as, nope, not 2. 5 divided by 2. How do we multiply a fraction by a single number? What did we discuss when we talked about multiplying by fractions? Sure. Good, multiple, right? That single number divided by 1. And then when we're multiplying fractions, how do we do that? That's with division. We just multiply across. So 5 times -3 is -15. 2 times 1 is 2. So we get -15 halves. Right? So the trick here is a lot of people probably thought it was -5/6, maybe potentially, or -10/12. So if you forgot to simplify, the problem is that you were saying, oh, well, there's parentheses, I have to multiply. The only time that I would have to multiply that first is if the whole thing was in parentheses, okay? Because it was written just individually, we wouldn't. Okay, so that one's why it's -15 halves. No. If you wrote it that way, it would be wrong. Or if you had that answer, it would be wrong.
Yes, but I know I meant simplify, but I was on the right track.
No, if you got that answer, it would be wrong. It's not on the right, like you could have done partial correct, yes, but the finishing statement would not be on the right track. So the start of it could have been, but not the end. Try number 4. Now, number 3 is a tricky one. The reason why I do it is because it comes up very often. It's not really tricky in the sense that it's meant to be a trick question. It's more, are you paying attention? So are you paying attention to the fact that those weren't all in parentheses? Okay, were you paying attention that it was left to right? Okay, so it's more meant to make sure you're actually paying attention to the details. All right, let's try number 4. Okay, 2x as in a variable, not a multiplication symbol. 2x parentheses y minus w fraction division divided by z. So again, that's 2x as a variable, not multiplication. Parentheses y minus w divided by z. If you need to rewrite your numbers, I'm going to put it up here just so you don't have to necessarily flip back and forth. So if you need to write it up here at the top, just so remember. But I'd like you to go ahead and try number 4 as well. Okay, again, order of operations, the biggest thing is just paying attention to the small details. Okay, don't try and go too fast. Don't try and skip steps. Just go step by step. Again, in this class, I don't expect perfection, but I do expect you to try. Okay? Trying means actually putting things down on paper. If you ever need help, raise your hand. I'm happy to come assist during this time. Okay, you may go ahead and work with someone near you, either on your final answer or work through where you're at.
I think that's my location.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so anyone want to offer up a suggestion of their answer? 23rds? Anyone else?
Negative 23rd.
Negative 23rds? Negative 23rds? Okay, so let's see. So we're pretty confident about 23rds. We're just not sure if it's positive or negative. So let's see what happens. Well, of the people that,
Negative 53rds.
well, it's one of either 23rds or negative 23rds. I'll give you that much so far. So first thing you need to do is substitute in your values. So 2 times 5 times 2 minus 4 divided by negative 3. Okay, first thing we do is parentheses, which means we simplify. So 2 times 5, 2 minus 4 is not time, sorry, 2 minus 4, negative 2. Okay, 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Okay, then on top we have all multiplication, so I can just multiply across. So 2 times 5, which is 10, 10 times negative 2, negative 20. And a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So it is 23rds as a positive answer. Okay, how many of you got positive 23rds to begin with? Okay. Those that did not, and that's okay, do you see where your mistake was made or understand where the mistake was made? Okay, let's go ahead and try number 5. All right. X squared W, yes, plus 3YZ. X squared W plus 3YZ. Go ahead and complete number 5. I wrote the numbers at the top if you need a reminder of what the numbers should be. Again, your first step should always be to substitute in the value for the variable. Okay, that's the first step I expect to see of your work. Hey, you may check with a partner or someone near you.
And he said I was on the right track. She said it when I was supposed to ask. She said it before I wrote my name. Said it before I wrote my answer. Yeah. Okay, what time is it? So I got 5, 6, 7 hours. I'm about 5 square. Don't be putting that message. Okay, look, I got 5 square. 4, plus 3. How do you kind of miss your kind of thing?
Okay, back to me or finish up your conversations. Okay, bring it back to me, please. Okay, first thing you do is substitute in your values, okay? I found a handful of people that were not substituting their values with parentheses, okay? On previous examples, we're substituting the values with parentheses if there's something else going on with them, okay? Some of you just wrote down 3 numbers next to each other, okay? So you gotta be careful of that. So X was 5, so it's 5 squared. And then W, so I would put parentheses around that, so I remember that those are being multiplied to each other. Plus 3 parentheses, Y is 2, and Z is -3. Okay, again, I saw a lot of 3, 2 minus 3. You gotta put parentheses around them so you remember. Okay, then we start with our exponents. So 5 squared, 25. Okay, then we started multiplying left to right, 25 times 4, 100. Okay. And then we have multiplying over here. 3 times 2, which is 6. 6 times -3, which is -18. Okay, so technically it's going to look like you said plus -18. You can either think of it as 100 plus -18, or you could just simply write it as 100 minus 18. Either way, your answer should result in a value of 82.
Apparently, I'm in favor of multiplying 25.
Okay, so how many were able to get a value of 82? Okay, good, better than the last one. Okay, those that were unable to get 82, were you able to see where your mistake was or your confusion is? Okay. Okay, try number 6. Okay, number 6.
Is that a 1 or?
It's X times Y in parentheses, quantity squared, and then divided by X times Y. Remember, when letters are next to each other, that means they're being multiplied. If there's parentheses, that's also a form of multiplying. Pay attention to the parentheses around the first set. If you need some assistant, maybe look at number 3. It's similar, not the same, but similar. Again, try your best individually, and then about a minute, I'll let you share with someone near you.
Oh, yeah, that's a square. And then. Oh, I know.
Why don't you look at number 3? Okay, let's see what we should have gotten. There was a handful of people that got the answer. Don't share the answer.
That's too late.
Okay, we are gonna go over it. All right, parentheses, x, 5 times 2, quantity squared, divided by 5 times 2. 5 times 2 is 10.
Oh,
10 squared is, what should be done next? 100 divided by 5 is 20. And 20 times 2 is 40. So if you got 10, you did the same mistake that some of you did on number 3, which was assume because there's parentheses that you're like, oh, that has to go first. It only would have gone first if there was a parenthesis around X and Y to begin with.
Okay, what I do to avoid that confusion is, I know that it does mean multiplication, so
Guys, if we could stay quiet, please. Thank you.
when I write it down, I don't put the parentheses instead of multiplication, right, so that I don't get confused.
That's a great way of solving that issue. So she said that instead of writing parentheses, she just writes a multiplication dot or a small X so that she remembers it and doesn't think of it that way. That's a great solution. Okay, if that works for you, I would highly suggest that. Okay, so that we could have voices off while I'm talking. Tia, can you put your mask up? All right, so that is the last lesson, last question for today. I'm gonna let, hold on. Don't pack up while I'm talking. That's not respectful. Okay. The rest of class time will be dedicated for you to work on the back side of your assignment. If you did not finish the first side because you were not sure how to do, stop packing up. You have plenty of time. You do not need to pack up. Stop touching things. I'll just wait till people stop touching things. Okay. The rest of class time is dedicated for you to work on your assignment. You have 10 questions on the back. If you did not finish the first side, I would suggest working on that and asking questions as necessary. Okay. If you have questions throughout the assignment, okay, you can raise your hand, you can ask me, or you can check with someone near you. It's not group work time, but if you have a question of someone next to you, you can ask, or you can raise your hand. If I'm busy, you can feel free to talk to someone near you. Okay, but go ahead and get out your assignments and get worked.